I've actually not been drinking for a while. What about you, man? You been hungover recently?
I don't get hangovers at all. I have had one hangover my entire life, and that was the day after my 20th birthday.
Fair.
Happened a lot that night.
Do you ever wonder where that word comes from? Like hangover, dude.
I've never thought about it once, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's kind of a word which I was like, but I did some research on it, and there used to be rooms in the side of a pub for the drunks who couldn't make it home to go and like hang over this kind of wire thing. So here we go. Yeah, so there's this like room of like 9 or 10 just absolutely plastered people just like fucking hanging. And that would be the cheapest accommodation you could get, you know? Nowadays you have hostels. Back then you literally just hung over a rope, and I'm like, is that, you know, how do you think their backs are feeling in the morning? Dude, you can't be feeling good, right?
See, that's what happened on my 20th birthday.
You were just like...
That's how it ended.
That's how it felt. You know, any of these like students who's like, I feel so bad, man. At least you went back to a bed. These guys...
You have a bed to go back to.
These guys... And you know these guys aren't drinking like a pint of water before they go to bed. You know, like now people are like, oh, have some fluids, have some bread before bed.
They're necking down fucking spirits.
And then they just... Yeah.
Jaeger. That's the last thing they taste.
And this brought me on to what we were talking about previously, is like a lot of insomniacs must turn to alcohol to help them fall asleep. Dude, like alcohol is just like, I just pass out so quick. You don't get good quality sleep, but you're just like, you're asleep, right?
Yeah, you knock out.
Yeah, for sure. Should we read why this was the case? I mean, during the Victorian era, the practice of paying a 2-penny hangover was incredibly popular among the country's homeless people. And the term 2-penny hangover was so commonly used that it's made its way into contemporary literature. Yeah, so the hangover is not the description of a very cheap night out. It is actually somewhere you could go to sleep if there was one of the thousands of homeless and destitute living in the country's main cities at the time.
That's interesting.
If you lived on the streets and managed to make the money, so if these homeless people managed to barter or, you know, get a couple pennies during the day, they could stay on top of a wire. On top. Yeah, you pay for that. I suppose it's better than being on the street, you know, roof over your head. I mean, some people right now don't even have that option, you know, roof over their head. Maybe they need to do that again.
To reintroduce the 2-penny hangover.
Well, like, there's homeless people sleeping at night. Imagine for 2 pennies, they could just go, like 20p.
It's quite unethical, though.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them would rather sleep down on the floor.
True, now we have like sleeping bags and shit. But remember back in the day, what would they have? What do you reckon homeless people, they'd probably they're sleeping on the floor, just like straight, And
the streets back then were full of shit as well. Like absolutely full of shit.
God, homeless people these days, how it's so easy. God, Ben, like why would you even say that, man? That's really insensitive, dude. Is that what you were implying?
Yeah.
Dude.
No, it's yeah.
Good point though. There's a lot of shit. A lot of going around.
There was a lot of shit.
If you had like horrible diarrhea, everyone on your street would know it. Everyone on your street would know you're having a rough week as well.
Well, the walls were thin back then as well. So first they'd hear it.
Yeah.
And then they'd smell it. And then they'd see it on the street. Because fucking it's disgusting.
Yeah. Plumbing wasn't invented until like what, early 20th century, late 19th century? Could we Google when plumbing was first invented? That is crazy to think. Like, my granddad and part of my dad's life, they didn't even have toilets in their house. They had an outhouse in their back garden. They would go and take a shit or a piss. The rise and... A little over 100 years ago, most of households in the UK did not have access to the indoor bathroom. Exactly, there you go. Like a lot of them were in a separate little room.
Back in the 1860s, toilets were extremely rare, and households having their own water supply was even rarer. So in the 1860s, they did have like outdoor toilets.
Yeah.
But there were no indoor toilets.
1860s, okay.
Yeah, and I think before that, that's when shit was thrown out.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah, before that, people were just kind of messing around with it. Yeah.
So through the first half of the 20th century, that's when toilets were starting to be introduced into homes.
It'd be pretty weird though. Imagine you're the first guy to shit in your actual house. It'd feel a little like intimate. Like,
you feel like a king. It probably was the king, to be honest.
Yeah. Royalty probably got that first, right? Yeah.
Is that why they call it a throne?
Yeah. Have you seen the South Park episode when they say, like, oh, we've all been shitting the wrong way the whole time? You're meant to face the flusher. You know, like we sit away from the basin, you know, where the bit
So like how
flushes.
cool people like sit on chairs like
Yeah,
backwards.
yeah. Well, like we're all meant
yeah.
to shit that way.
Oh, okay.
Like, because then you have a little table, you know, you could read the newspaper, or you
Yeah.
could, like... So they argue if that's how it was intended to be used, you know? Because it could be used like that. You could straddle the toilet, you know?
I guess so, but if you're sitting down while flushing, your peck is going to get quite wet.
Yeah, I mean, that's... If you're sat the other way, though, surely. You're still getting a little... You're at risk of a little splash, right?
Yeah, but I think you're even more at risk if you're sat the cool way.
Oh, because there's more... Yeah, dude, maybe even dick... Yeah, your dick would probably get a bit wet, dude.
Soggy, very soggy.
Yeah, true. Maybe you'd have to jump off that. That's a good argument, Ben. To be fair, you got a good rebuttal there, mate.